Everything you think you know about ninjas is probably wrong. They didn't wear black pajamas. They didn't vanish in clouds of smoke. And they weren't magical sword masters slicing through armies in the dead of night. The truth, stranger, grittier, and far more fascinating than fiction. Because real ninja shinobi weren't just silent killers. They were spies, saboteurs, masters of illusion, and psychological warfare specialists. And their story has been hidden in the shadows for centuries. So forget the Hollywood hype today. We're pulling back the mask and revealing the secret history of ninjas. The parts you were never supposed to know. What ninjas actually did. Let us start with a reality check. Real ninjas weren't elite warriors in the traditional sense. They were more like covert agents. Think espionage, not swordplay. While samurai followed strict codes of honor and bushido, ninjas were hired precisely because they didn't. They did the dirty work. No samurai would touch sneaking into enemy camps, setting fires to supply lines, poisoning wells, gathering intelligence, and spreading disinformation. In some cases, they even staged ghost stories to demoralize enemies. They weren't trying to be heroes. They were trying to survive, destabilize their enemies from within. The truth about the all-black ninja suit, you've seen it in every movie. It's the iconic all-black ninja outfit, face covered, sword on the back, moving through the night like a shadow. But here's the plot twist. That outfit never existed. That look actually comes from kabuki theater, where stagehands, dressed in black, were meant to be invisible to the audience. Over time, those figures morphed into the visual image of the ninja. In real life, a ninja dressed to blend in as a monk, a merchant, a farmer, a traveler, anything but suspicious. The goal was always invisibility, but not the cartoon kind, the real kind, when nobody even noticed you were there. Masters of illusion, trickery, and psychological warfare ninjas weren't just about stealth. They were about manipulation, and their toolkit, oddly creative. They carried hollowed-out eggshells filled with blinding powders, firecrackers disguised as footsteps, fake trails using animal feet tied to sandals, even foxfire chemicals to make eerie glowing effects at night, convincing enemies the forest was haunted. Even used candles that burned for a specific amount of time, allowing them to track how long they'd been inside an enemy stronghold. Ninjas understood something we often forget. You don't need to fight your enemy if you can convince them to fight themselves. The female ninja's history tried to erase one of the least talked about aspects of ninja history, the kunoichi, female shinobi. These women played critical roles in espionage, particularly through social infiltration. They often posed as maids, servants, geisha, or lovers, gaining access to high-ranking officials and extracting secrets that no man ever could. Some kunoichi were trained in seduction, others in assassination through poison. Many were skilled in subtle psychological manipulation, influencing decisions behind the scenes. And yet, to court, their stories have been buried or romanticized. Make no mistake, they were just as dangerous and just as brilliant as their male counterparts. The ninja manuals that still exist think ninjas operated without instructions. Think again. Historical ninja clans, especially from regions like Iga and Koga, created detailed manuals, some of which still exist today. The most famous, Bansen Shukai, written in 1676. It's basically the Ninja Bible. Over 40 volumes on espionage, infiltration techniques, survival, disguise, and strategy. It includes how to make fire arrows, how to slip away through rivers using breathing tubes, how to craft simple explosives, even how to psychologically manipulate targets using staged hauntings. It's not fantasy, it's a tactical guidebook for asymmetric warfare, written centuries before special forces were even a concept, were ninjas and samurai enemies. So not always. Pop culture loves to show samurai versus ninja, but the reality is more complex. Ninjas were often hired by samurai lords to do the jobs they couldn't be seen doing. spying on rivals, sabotaging resources, or even staging false flag attacks. The IGA and Koga regions became known as ninja strongholds, networks of families and clans specializing in stealth operations. These regions weren't lawless. They had hierarchy, training systems, and command structures. In many ways, they were intelligence agencies, centuries ahead of their time. So, while samurai represented order, loyalty, and warfare, ninjas represented disruption, unpredictability, and adaptability. And sometimes it worked hand in hand. The disappearance of real ninjas by the early 1600s. Japan entered a long period of peace under the Tokugawa shogunate. And guess who that peace didn't need? Ninjas. The same rulers who once used them now saw them as threats, unpredictable, subversive, dangerous. Many shinobi were executed, forced into hiding, or absorbed into the samurai bureaucracy. Over time, their arts were either banned or watered down. Some surviving ninja families kept their knowledge secret. Others saw their traditions dissolve completely. Much of ninja history today is reconstruction pieced together from fragments, oral histories, and texts that barely survive government suppression. In a strange twist, the greatest ninjas may have been the ones who vanished without a trace. The Hollywood effect and the rise of fake ninjas. Fast forward a few centuries, and enter Hollywood. From cheesy 1980s ninja movies to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Naruto, pop culture completely transformed the ninja into a supernatural warrior. Suddenly, they were jumping off rooftops, throwing exploding stars, and using ninjutsu magic. And while it made for great entertainment, it also opened the door for something else: fake ninja schools. In the modern era, dozens of self-proclaimed ninja masters have emerged, claiming unbroken lineages to Iga or Koga. But many of these claims are unproven or outright fabricated. To be fair, some are martial artists, keeping the spirit of ninjutsu alive, but others are cashing in on the mystique, selling black belts and fantasy stories to anyone who will pay. The real ninja legacy wasn't about flashy skills, it was about subtlety, subversion, and strategic thinking. And those lessons are easy to lose in a world obsessed with spectacle. Why? The real ninja story still matters though. Why does any of this matter? Because the real ninja story isn't just about ancient Japan. It's about how power works in the shadows. It's about how information, not brute strength, can topple empires. It's about how the people with the least power found ways to outwit those who had it all. Ninjas weren't just fighters. They were hackers of their time, outsiders, survivors. And when you strip away the myths, what remains is a blueprint for asymmetric resistance. Written centuries before guerrilla warfare had a name. So next time you think of a ninja, don't picture a masked warrior flipping through the trees. Picture a poor farmer slipping into a warlord's compound at night. Not to fight him, but to outthink him. That's the part of the story that's worth remembering.